Mulch made from ground up wood is a functional and attractive addition to landscapes and gardens. Proper mulch making requires more than just grinding brush, twigs, limbs, and pallets and selling the newly ground product to the public. The ground wood requires additional preparation. The purpose of this video is to demonstrate the basic steps in making a mulch type product that the public will be happy with, and a product that will not give the mulch maker a bad reputation. Over the past few years, some mulch makers have produced mulches that killed young annual garden plants. We will show how to avoid making mulch that causes this problem. There are three main steps in making mulch: grinding, screening, and handling. We will present a brief look at the procedures of each step. Before grinding any of the brush that you may get onto your site, you need to inspect it thoroughly for things like plastic and metal. Remove all of that before the grinding. Also, you may find some treated or painted wood in your process, and that needs to be removed as well. CCA and chloropentaphenol treatments are common in materials that are used in landscape or for outdoor construction. Those can give you problems in the process. Grinding produces many particle sizes of wood. Large ones from 2 to 4 inches in size, and even smaller ones the size of sawdust or just basic dust particles. Let's call this pile A. You can screen pile A and you end up with the larger particle size material we'll term pile B, and the smaller particle size, which we will term pile C. Now, for reference, the pile B material is basically the size of the cypress mulch that you end up with in the bags that you can buy at local stores. It has had all the fine material removed during processing. Because the mulch in pile B does not contain any sawdust or smaller particle size material, similar to the cypress mulch, it can be applied to plants without causing them any danger. And because of this, it can be sold immediately for landscaping purposes. Why do small pieces of wood cause problems in mulch? Well, actually, the answer is rather simple and in 3 parts. Wood rots or decomposes. Secondly, small pieces of wood rot quicker than large pieces. And third, and probably most important, when small bits of wood rot, there's actually the process which occurs that produces acetic acid or vinegar. When piles A and C are going through the rotting process, the small bits of wood move into the large pore spaces within the pile and causes them to go anaerobic, or actually limits air. The small pieces collect a lot of moisture and cut off the air to the rest of the pile. If we were back on the farm making silage out of chopped up corn, we would not want air in the silo. The vinegar that's produced in the silo acts as a preservative and prevents the corn from spoiling. But remember, we're not making silage, we're making mulch. And vinegar in the mulch is definitely a problem, and it can kill some tender annual plants. What can be done about the vinegar buildup in mulch piles A and C? The good news is time and patience are on the side of the mulch maker. He has to keep these mulch piles around 4 to 6 months, mixing them up every few weeks so air can get to the inside. Gradually, the vinegar will disappear, thanks to the action of bacteria in the mulch that feed on the vinegar. But these bacteria will not function without air. We call these aerobic bacteria because they require air. That's why the piles have to be mixed frequently. Mixing is easily done with a front-end loader. Many mulch makers have the habit of taking leaves onto their site and grinding them. They then put them in large piles. The problem with that is that you get the vinegar production that we talked about earlier with the small wood particles mixed into the mulch. The vinegar smell is basically produced in the mulch after about 6 months. So what you've actually done is pickled the leaves. They are not decomposing. If you have ground the leaves, you can mix them with the mulch products from pile A or pile C and still produce a good quality mulch. What you would basically need to do is mix that mulch or aerate that mulch every 3 weeks. And after 6 months, you will get a well decomposed product and you'll remove the effect of the vinegar smell. When bringing leaves onto your site, you should leave them in the whole form and put them in long windrows, usually 8 to 10 feet tall and probably 10 to 12 feet wide. These whole leaves, if they're turned every 3 weeks to get good aeration in the pile and also keep them thoroughly mixed, will produce a wonderful smelling forest soil. It's basically what it'll be. They have a really good aroma. They smell just like the soil that you would like to have around your home. So a thing you may want to do is keep a pile of whole leaves on your site and let them decompose over time so you have a reference point to producing good, rich material from leaf sources. Water should be periodically applied to your leaves when they're too dry. And the question is, how do you tell when your leaves are too dry? Well, there's a simple test. Basically, you take a handful of leaves or 2 handfuls of leaves from the pile. And when you pick these leaves up, you squeeze the product, and if it's dry and crumbly, then you know water should be added. But if you pick up another batch and several drops of water come out when you squeeze those leaves, you realize you have plenty of water in the pile. I want to add a final word about safety at mulch sites. There are 2 main points. First of all, the employer or the site manager should evaluate each job or each area that a worker is in to determine what protective personal equipment they need to wear. Second, you need to make sure it's a responsibility of both the employer and the employee as to the care of that equipment and when they should have it on and how they should use it in their job. Let's review. Grinding, screening, and handling are the 3 main steps in mulch production. Grinding produces fine and coarse material. If we remove the fines through screening, we can use the mulch right away. Any storage pile with fines in it must be turned and watered regularly to prevent the production of vinegar. Mulching turns what was once a waste into a usable and beautiful product. It's a good idea. If you need more information, contact one of the agencies on the following list.